Thank you for joining us, everybody, to another episode of Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom. I'm Paul, and I'm obviously here with my co-host, Phenomenon Barb, the breakout hit of the Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom podcast.
I really am.
Jeez. She don't even need me.
No, it's a partnership.
Without me, you wouldn't be able to read anything. You wouldn't be able to see anything.
That's so true. I think the more I use the glasses, the
worse it gets.
The worse it gets.
So you can't see how beautiful I am. So what are we going to do? Get you LASIK eye surgery?
It's just weaken eyes.
Oh, lady eyes.
I didn't want to say that. Well, I mean, that's what your doctor called me last night. So
yeah, I know. I was kind of a little. So I have to go get my shoulder looked at because it's been a little tender. It's been a little painful. Let's be proactive. You know, Barb had frozen shoulder and to hit rock bottom to the point where I had to shave her own armpit because she couldn't do it herself. So I'm like, hey,
ladies and gentlemen, frozen shoulder is no joke. No joke.
Yeah.
I had it in one and then it went to the other. Like, that's just crazy. That's crazy.
Having to shave your armpit for you was really like, damn, this is like rock. Like her, I know, like she feels like she's hit.
I hit rock bottom. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Wasn't a great time. There was a lot of tears. There was a lot of self-pity.
Lots of tears. A lot of fetal positions in the corner. Yes.
Having to help her up. Yeah, it was bad. I'll never forget that one moment. So I'm like, hey, shoulders are not something to fuck around with, clearly. So I'm like, let me go and get looked at, taken care of. So I'm talking to my doctor and I'm explaining to him that, you know, my mom has had some issues and hiccups with her shoulders. Before I could even finish, he said, well, you know, being an older lady, that's what happens. And I said, whoa.
That's right.
I stopped the room. You could hear a pin drop. I said, my mom's 56. She's not a lady and she would not appreciate you saying that right now. I guess he had like a resident with him and the resident started laughing. And he's like, well, I'm like, no backpedaling now. You already said it. I was like, 56 is not old.
I mean, just to actually say that in general, really not a bedside manner.
Yeah, he was pretty aggressive with his vernacular, if you will.
Yes. To say old lady.
Yeah, I'm like, old lady. So I had to check his ass at the doctor's and let him know you better put some respect on my mom's age.
That's right. So just to follow up, everyone, I bought myself a brand new TV. So no more broke TV after only having it for 2 years.
Yeah, I'm still pissed about that.
Yep, I went and got a new TV.
Geek Squad ain't shit.
The Geek Squad guy called me, but he kind of like was asking me questions.
What are you wearing right now? You were like, he's asking you questions. I'm like, about what?
Oh, no, he was asking me about the TV. So let's hope it lasts more than 2 years this time.
Do you see the balloons behind me?
I know. Who's that from?
Shout out to Champagne Papa, Matt Fedora, Sean Green. Shout out. He's a Virgo as well.
Shout out, Sean. We love both of them. I've
been celebrating my birthday about a week earlier, as I'm a birthday whore. I'm standing and owning I'm a birthday whore.
100%. You love your birthday. Love your birthday.
But I think you enabled me to be like this because growing up.
Of course I did.
I had, always your fault. I had.
Bottom line.
I had petting zoos in our backyard. I had jump houses.
You had the ultimate. Yes, your birthday is all out for.
I'm owning and I'm aware I'm a birthday whore, but not only because, I guess not because I like the attention. The way that I feel like I celebrate my birthday, I give it to other people where I'm like, oh,
I know. I love that. I envy that because I don't feel like that.
This year feels different though. This year I'm going to be 32 and usually I do like a big production where I like to have all the people that I love come together. This year I just had no desire. I almost feel like it's like an identity crisis of like, I had no desire in my heart to do something big. I feel like I actually want to like put your phone away, touch grass, get reconnected and
Katy Perry.
Yeah, touch grass. It resonated when she said that at the VMAs.
Oh, right, Katy Perry. Look,
It
I knew that.
You
That's
did. You did. That's a pop culture reference. I did feel that though, because I felt like, your work and personal life is revolving around like a phone and people and planning and scheduling. And I
yeah,
just was like, I don't want to do shit. I want to like wake up in the woods, have a hot tub, drink champagne, and read a book.
zen.
Jordy's like, I'm taking your phone and I'm putting it in like a lockbox and you're not going to have it all weekend. I was like, no, you're not. I'm like, I need it.
You need to call me.
Yeah, there you go. I need to at least keep it for my actual like birthdays.
I need videos. We need FaceTime of the place, the hikes, whatever.
I don't know if the hikes will be happening. I'm a little nervous. So Jordy is so sweet.
I'm a little nervous for you, to be honest. I feel like you might not have invested a lot of time into exactly where you're going, because
Jordy,
it literally says you have to park your car down the street and hike to your house. So, like, you two are in that place once you get there, and that's it.
Yeah. Jordy was kind enough to really get a place. He got a place for my birthday. I am looking forward to it. The pictures look gorgeous. It's in this cabin in the mountains. I have been watching a lot of crime documentaries lately. And I was like, I don't know much about this area. I've never been there. I'm like, I don't know much about this town. So I did some deep dives, and apparently there's witches in the woods. So there's like seances and shit. And like, I'm a little nervous because it keeps making me
You
think
better keep your phone literally like Velcro to you.
It's not locked up. This shit's like tight.
Yeah.
It's given a little like strangers vibes. Like that's what I keep thinking
of.
Oh,
snap. You're freaking me out now.
Now
I'm going to be like worried the whole time.
I know.
I don't think of it now as like, oh, it's going to be sweet. You guys are just going to be like secluded. Like now I'm thinking some stupid people are going to be coming with masks on their face or smiles.
Okay. Well, I wasn't getting descriptive. I just said that similar to the movie. As you know, being an intuitive queen, is that I feel a shift in myself that I'm like, really just wanted to do something that felt like Zen. Is this just this year? Is this who I'm becoming? I just got to take what I'm feeling in my body and just roll with it. So since it's Virgo season, me and you are always like, that is so Virgo of you. That is so Gemini of you. We always are like by the books trying to, over assess like who we are based on our zodiac signs.
Absolutely.
This episode has to be an astrology based episode. We got to tap into the Virgo-ness, the astrology of it all. It's timely. It's my birthday week. This is my birthday episode. We're classifying it as my birthday episode. I hope you're okay with that.
Yes.
And
all about you. Yes.
Thanks. So I was like, let's bring on somebody who can inform us and let us know and give us more insight, because it's something that we're always trying to find more info on.
We do. We always send little like quotes, Virgo quotes, Gemini.
On the accounts like that come up on Instagram. It's
yeah.
This is so you read it.
Yeah.
So we have on today an expert. She's been doing this for over 20 years. She's fab, knows her shit, feels like a friend. She's going to come on and enlighten us, give us the rundown on just everything, astrology, compatibility. She goes by Astrology Mom. Her name is Chana Peppers. With that being said, let's welcome Astrology Mom, Chana, to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you on.
I'm so excited to be here, truly, because I'm also a huge fan of you guys. So,
thank you.
Yeah, I love your podcast.
We're huge fans of yours. That's why I was so honored that you would take time for little old us to come on this podcast and chat.
No. I'm flattered. I'm so excited to be here. I love it.
I told you when we initially talked, like, how much my mom and I are into astrology, but there's always like that, okay, we could learn a little bit more here. Yeah. So I was like, okay, if we're bringing anybody on, we're bringing Astrology Mom on to fill in all the pieces that we're missing when it comes to this stuff. And I know you are an expert in the space and have the expertise.
I've been studying astrology for over 25 years. And just years of hands-on practice. And I got into astrology, 25 years ago. I was really kind of lost and like just kind of struggling. I was going through some depression, just kind of confused and scared. I was a very young single mom, and I really didn't have a lot of direction at the time. And when I stumbled across astrology, I just felt a connection with it. And I just felt like I could finally see myself through the eyes of something bigger that made sense to me. I was looking at myself through astrology and I was like, yeah, I feel really proud of her. It was kind of like showing me a purpose and gave me answers that I had been looking for. And it helped me kind of really accept that my experience with being a single mom. I said I had 2 unexpected young pregnancies, and that brought along a lot of guilt and a lot of depression. So as I was learning astrology, I was like, oh yeah, I have an Aquarius 5th house. That brings unexpected pregnancies. And oh, I'm a Pisces moon. So that's why I'm so emotional with how I feel about being a mother. And it helped me even understand my own mother on a really deep level, and just helped me really like truly step into my motherhood, which is why I call myself the astrology mom, because astrology saved my life. It truly saved my life. It just helped me, even open up a better path with my own children, helps me find ways to even connect with them on a deeper level. So yeah, my mission now really is just, I want to share what I've learned with other people who also want to find better understanding, maybe are on the wrong path, maybe want a different view, and how to accept their self, their relationships, their children, and just a higher purpose in general through astrology.
There's like this surge of like so much info that I want from you. I know that you have done a TikTok, especially on this, the compatibility differences between a parent and child. Are there like the top 5 most compatible zodiac signs that kind of stand out to you in terms of parent-child dynamics?
Yeah. So in general, just a general look would be like sun signs. So when you're looking at that, you're looking at the elements. There's the 4 elements, which I'm sure you've heard: fire, air, water, and earth. So the fire and the air signs are always the most compatible, or fire with fire, air with air, earth with earth, and water with water. That's elite, right? So if you have, for example, a Leo mother with an Aries child, they're both fire. That's a wonderful combination for mother and child. And same with 2 air signs. So a Gemini mother with an Aquarius child would be a great match. But also the fire and air signs are very compatible, and then earth and water signs are very compatible. When I'm looking at the signs themselves, it really comes down to the elements. But yes, there are some that are harder than others. So for example, when you've got a fire mother, like an Aries mother, because she's going to be spontaneous and just loud and somewhat aggressive and like in your face kind of mom. And then if she has like a watery child, like a Cancer or a Pisces, they're more sensitive and they need affection. And a fire parent is, not that they'll give them affection, but they're just loud with it, right?
Right.
So yeah, like a fire parent with a watery child is really difficult. But I would say the most compatible is when you have the same elements. So like a Aquarius with a Gemini, a Virgo with a Capricorn. That's elite.
Wait, Virgo and Capricorns are elite pairing? My boyfriend's a Capricorn.
Oh, in general, yes. 2 earth signs would definitely be compatible.
I find it interesting sometimes, and this could be a tangent, we could come back to the mother-son parent situation, but I keep Capricorns in my life, and I have not realized this until I met my boyfriend. My best friend, he's a Capricorn. My boyfriend's a Capricorn, and then my best friend that I grew up with from home, she's a Capricorn.
Yeah, because you're drawn to the earth signs because you are an earth sign. So earth signs are all very grounded, very practical, very methodical, very thoughtful. So yeah, that just works really, really beautifully together.
It really is a big deal to understand the 4 elements of fire, water, air, and earth to make a determination. Because I was talking to a friend yesterday, telling her that you were coming on, and I was so excited about it. And she was like, I would love for you to ask her how important those are in piecing together, compatibilities, because I don't think a lot of people are more knowledgeable the deeper dive into it.
Right. I think they have the baseline information and they're like, oh, that's what my sign says I need to be interested in,
Yeah.
Right. But there can be so much more. So if you're okay with that, for example, the 2 of you, Paul, you're a Virgo, which would be an earth sign. And your mother, Barb, is a Gemini, which is an air sign. So right away, air and earth, that should not work, right?
Prove them wrong.
Right. Because there's so much more to it, right?
Absolutely.
So what I find interesting is that the reason I feel like it works for the two of you is because both Virgo and Gemini are ruled by the same planet. So you're both ruled by Mercury, which is the planet of communication and intellect. You have this very strong connection on this level that's like really cerebral and like mentally stimulating for you as mother and child. Emotionally as well, but it's more up here. It's more of like a Mercury type of mental stimulation between the two of you, a mental nurturing.
Me and my mom, I think, rely on each other emotionally.
Yeah, because with the emotional side of it, you want to look at your moon signs though, because the moon is going to really drive your emotions. And your moon is an earth moon. You also have an earth moon. You have a Taurus earth moon. And then Barb, you have an Aries fire moon, which again, should not work. Should not work.
I know, that's so funny. Like all you're saying is like, yeah, no. And then we're like,
right, because there's so much deeper. Barb, with you, you're like, Geminis are very quick-witted and enjoy those really stimulating conversations. And you probably did really foster this very kind of open environment where you are free to share and say and communicate in any way that you want. That's very Gemini mother. Gemini sun.
I was going to say, if you've listened to this podcast, you're
I'm telling you, I was looking at your birth chart and I was like, oh, yep, I can see. Yep, I can see that. It was very, very interesting. And then whereas Paul, you're very analytical and really detail oriented. That's that Virgo. Preferring to be more ordered in it. So with Barb being a Gemini, hers is just very open and free, which creates a beautiful environment. But you tend to be a little more analytical than about that and prefer order and less flexibility.
So when he comes home and tells me I have to organize my house and stuff,
that's so Virgo. Yeah.
I'm like in there. I'm like in the trenches, Chana. I'm like down. I'm like, oh, no. Put this here. Let's do this. It looks cuter if it's over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's fine. I know where it's at. It's good. It's all, it's organized, disorganized.
There you go.
I am such a routine person. I mean, it's kind of funny because my mom has said since I can remember, like, you are such a Virgo. I think I honestly learned about astrology through my mom. Like, she'd pick up books if we'd be out and she'd read it and she'd be like, oh my God, this is so you, read this. And it was very always me. It's like detailed, very analytical, over analytical, just being very in a routine fashion. So it's kind of interesting. Knowing people's zodiac signs allows you to give people grace kind of in a way.
More of an insight. More of who they are, like, really internally. Yeah,
absolutely. It does give you an opportunity to give grace, but I also tell people to be really careful to not let it make it as an excuse, right? Because regardless of astrology, we all have free will. So yes, we can give each other grace. I'm really big on not saying, well, that's because of my Aquarius sun. I'm just a bitch,
Yeah, you're cursing everybody out. You're like, well, I'm just a Virgo.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. And I have to be careful about that. Please give me a little grace, but also I'm not asking, I need to be careful about that too.
Right.
But if you really want to know the dynamics between a mother and child, you really have to look at, and this is what I've always thought is really interesting. You have to look at the child's moon. So for us to get like a really clear picture, the moon in your chart, for example, Paul, or anyone's chart, represents your mother. So looking at what house it's in, what sign it's in, and if there's other planets aspecting your moon sign is going to give like a really clear indication into how you experienced your mother. Doesn't necessarily mean that's who she is or how she experienced her own motherhood with you, which is also really interesting because your birth chart is your birth chart, just like your experience in life is your own. We're all very individual.
Yeah.
And so like you have a Taurus moon, and I think I've heard you mention before, do you have a brother?
Yeah, he's a Sagittarius.
Okay.
He's a Sagittarius.
Yeah, and he probably has a different moon, which means he had a different experience of your mother. Or you could have the same moon. if you both had sort of the same experience with your mother. So like me and my two older siblings, we have all three have the same moon sign. And it makes a lot of sense for us because of our relationship with our mother. But a lot of families have children with multiple different moon signs, and they all see their mother differently and accurately from their own experience with her.
How do you find the moon sign? So why is it different with each one?
That's where the time of day comes in. So wherever the moon was placed in the horoscope, the moment that you were born.
For somebody who's listening and like, oh my God, like, how do I find this out? The first step would be to create a birth chart, correct?
There's a lot of places online where you can go in and plug in your birth chart. You can go to astro.com. You can go to astrotheme.com, astrochart. Anybody can go in and plug in their information, that birth date, birth time, and place of birth that I got from you guys, and plug that in. And it's going to tell you all that information. Where an astrologer would then come in is then interpreting and explaining all of that. Because they're going to see, you know, Virgo sun, Taurus moon. It's not going to give an explanation for that. So that's where an astrologer who's been studying that would come in and try and explain how that manifests in your life.
That's where Astrology Mom comes in and lays down the foundation and says, this is what it is.
And I love it. It's so fun. If you want, I can talk a little bit more about Paul's moon sign, because that talks more about the relationship between the two of you.
Yeah.
So he has a Taurus moon. And so typically children with a Taurus moon, and I'm not saying this just to be yanking your chain because, or like trying to like cozy up to you, but the moon is exalted in Taurus. But most people with a Taurus moon have beautiful childhood. So they're in a situation with their mother that it just feels very natural. It feels very comfortable. They typically feel like they were very nurtured. And even as adults, they have fond memories of their mother and their upbringing growing up. Now, the moon there's always a light side and a dark side of the moon. I'm assuming the light side just from knowing you guys here.
I'm glad that's translating through the podcast.
The light side.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a light side and a dark side of every moon sign. And it depends on if the mother is healed or if the mother is unhealed. In your case, as a Taurus moon child, the light side would mean that your mother was very nurturing. She expressed her love through food. So if I was guessing, I would say she loved to cook for you and provide you material things. So gifts, like maybe buying gifts and making sure you were always financially secure was probably very important to your mother.
That's a Taurus moon.
That's a Taurus moon. Yes.
That's
so
what I have.
Yes.
That's what you have. Yeah. So that it kind of gives me clues into what your experience was with your mother. The dark side of the Taurus moon then would just be the opposite. So of those mothers, if they're unhealed, those children, it's the complete opposite. It's a really dark side. They're more struggling financially with their mother. She was it's her way or the highway. There's a light and a dark side to every moon sign. An Aries moon mother, which is what you are, Barb. You have an Aries moon. So like an Aries moon mother on the light side, you would have seen your mother as like a leader. Like she wore the pants in the family. Very energetic, brave, bold type of energy on the light side. Then the dark side, she could have actually just been very aggressive, dominant, and scary.
We're going to go more to the dark side. Can you have a little bit of both?
Absolutely. There can be a mix in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say the Aries moon mother dark side is probably the scariest of all of them. It's just scary. Some of those Aries moon mother stories that I've heard are scary.
Yeah, my grandmother, rest her soul, but let me tell you, you don't want to fuck with that bitch when she was
Period.
I can see that. I mean, it's interesting how you can just kind of even just pick that up from a moon sign.
Yeah.
To take it a step further, Paul's Taurus moon is then in his 11th house. So in astrology, you have 12 houses, and the 11th house is where your moon is sitting. So your Taurus moon is sitting here in the 11th house, and the 11th house stands for friendships, groups, humanitarian things. It's the Aquarius house. So what that tells me is that your mother also was like your friend, that you've kind of viewed her as your friend because she's sitting in your 11th house of friendships.
And she's sitting on the podcast with me right
now. And you guys have this very close dynamic that I know you're questioning a lot. Of like, should we be this close? You know, I think a lot of it has to do with that 11th house. She feels like a friend to you.
Look, wait, see, it took us, this is episode 8.
I know, see?
And it took us for Chana, Astrology Mom, to come in and say, this is why. We've had therapists, she's like,
I'm telling you, astrology always wins. I'm telling you, I stand on that. Astrology always wins.
It's funny that you say that because it was just like I'm in, and I don't know because I was like a first time mom and I'm like, oh, doesn't everybody feel this and have this? But we did, even like when he was little, it was like, we would just pal around, if that makes sense. You know, like we would
just a little buddy.
Yeah.
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 You're not going to cry, Mom, are you?
Oh.
No. I am an emotional person, but
that she is. I don't know. Are Geminis emotional?
Honestly, technically, no. Air signs are more very cerebral, intellectual, tend to be more like in your head emotional. You tend to stay up here, and you kind of probably sometimes have to remind yourself to come down here, because I'm an air sign as well. I'm an Aquarius. So I'm always up here, up here, up here. And then I'll be like, oh my gosh, take a deep breath.
I am up here, but I have always been an emotional person too.
You have an Aries moon too. So the nurturing from your Aries moon mother, also you carry that throughout your life, right? So your moon sign shows how your mother nurtured you, but then how you in turn nurture yourself and how you nurture others. Because you have an Aries moon, when you're nurturing your children, you probably feel very like fiery, passionate, bold with your emotions. Even though they may not always be picking that up, he's feeling, you're giving it out like a fire sign, an Aries moon. And because he's a Taurus moon, he's receiving it.
I was actually thinking, I'm like, damn, I wonder if that's why growing up I had this big, like, bitch, nobody can tell me nothing attitude, because Barb just instilled this, like, you know, confidence in me that was like, no, you know?
Yes, I see that. I absolutely see that in you guys' horoscope, because Barb, you also have a 5th house Sagittarius placement. So the reason I look at that when I'm looking at symmetry and compatibility is your 5th house rules like new creations. So that's where we would look to see how your approach to mothering is, even how you reacted to finding out you were going to be a mother. You can kind of see that in the 5th house, because it's the house of creation and you're literally creating a human being. You have Sagittarius there. And so I would wager to guess, because Sagittarius is such a free-spirited, adventurous, you may have initially, when you found out, oh, I actually have to like maybe slow down here and think about somebody besides me. Like when people have Sagittarius 5th house, they immediately feel a little bit of a limitation of maybe some mental and geographical freedom is going to be lost here. These mothers that's kind of the first reaction. I don't know if that's hitting there or not, because it'll disappear over time, but that's like the initial reaction of this loss of freedom, because Sagittarius loves freedom. Sagittarius is also like super enthusiastic. So these mothers get like, they encourage their children to like, let's go explore the world, and that you teach them to express themselves freely. Very open and tolerant, allowing your kids to kind of just be who they are, which we see that, and always kind of stimulating their curiosity. Sometimes with Sagittarius, there can be issues with setting like clear boundaries with your kids. Which can result in like
her reaction at first. I was like, all right, I'm gonna let her take this one.
I don't know what that word means.
That would be your Sagittarius 5th house. And then with his 11th house moon, it kind of crosses that boundary of between parent and friend, right? So that you have almost like a double dose of that, which is probably why you guys feel really, really close.
To me, when I hear you talking about this, I'm wondering like how impactful, like you can't really change the course of your astrology sign. That's like your DNA. It's like who you are, correct? But like how imperative, I guess, is it to your upbringing? Like you're saying, oh, your mother was like this, or your dad was like that, or you can't change it. So it's like, how do you kind of embrace it or move forward with that?
Right. So it's kind of like that nature versus nurture. Your astrology would be nature. Like I said before, you have free will. So that's what I always tell people too. Even though there may be pieces and parts of your personality that are kind of stamped in time, it doesn't mean that you're just stuck on that path by any means. When I was starting to dig into mine, I really struggled with connecting with being an Aquarius sun. I was like, I just don't feel that. Like, I don't think I'm that person. Because I have a Pisces moon, it makes me extremely emotional and more connected with people. In Aquarius, you're just not. I don't want to feel that way. Some of the negative implications of that sign.
Like for Gemini, you would always hear, oh, they're two-faced.
Yep. Right. Yes.
So I would never sit and relate that I felt like a Gemini as a
Right.
teenager or anything. I would always be like, no, I'm just, I'm not like that. I don't have two evil, like one good side, one evil side. Like that's how it was.
Right. Yes.
Until I started really like digging into it and then seeing and reading, it's two people with just introvert one moment, extrovert the next,
Yes. You're able to kind of bounce back and forth between the two. Yes, absolutely.
Just like, I don't want this label of being a two-faced bitch. This is not what it is.
No. And that's what, you know what I mean? I'd be like, I'm not, people automatically, oh, you're the two-faced. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah. And that's like with mine Aquarius, everybody says they're just heartless. And I was like, I'm really not
heartless. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of where I feel like, what I just mentioned was like connections of your identity to your astrology or your zodiac sign doesn't define you. The Virgo-ness, me coming in to my mom's home and saying, I don't, we got to make this like, that's overstepping my boundaries.
They say Virgos are very nitpicky, right? So they say they're nitpicky. And so if you're going in and being nitpicky, then you're showing your Virgo qualities.
I love this episode.
Thinking my boyfriend's probably going to get a kick out of it too, because it's just like, he could put something in like one little wrong way. And I'm like, oh, I just feel it. And I'll be like, what's wrong? And I'm like, my teeth are cracking.
Yes.
And we're working on that. And like, I'm aware of that. And I know that that is maybe not a great thing. So I'm just thinking if somebody's listening to this, it doesn't define you, but it is a part of your identity. And it's how you choose to move through life of either owning it and accepting it and saying, whatever, I don't care, or wanting to fix those things and work on them.
Absolutely. Yes. Just like anything, just like you said, just like something in your DNA that you recognize. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes me even think too, like, growing up in our household, we had one present parent and one absent parent. And I'm the way that I am because I felt like in a way I kind of raised myself when my mom maybe couldn't give me 100 because she has 2 children, right? So she's doing her best. I mean, I definitely feel like she gave me a lot of love, and that's not even to negate at all. But it's like, I'm aware of that now as an adult, where like my mom did the best that she could. She gave me the love, but there are things that I just didn't receive. And that makes me who I am as an adult now, right? Where I'm like, oh my God, like, I feel like the weight of the world could be on my shoulders, because it's like, I kind of feel at certain times I had to take care of myself. I feel that now as an adult, but I'm aware of it. So it's like working through that. So like kind of what you're saying, it's very similar to, oh, I know I'm this as a Virgo, but like I could still work on it.
Yes. And it's very interesting because I saw that in your chart and I was like, I don't know if that's resonating. But now that you're saying that, that makes perfect sense. If you look in your 4th house, it tends to kind of show your home life. So that's just your home with both of your parents, sort of your family dynamic. And you have Libra there, which they're both cardinal signs, but any of the cardinal signs in the 4th house, those children typically have a feeling that they kind of have to raise themselves. There comes a time in your childhood where those children have this realization of like, oh, I think I'm going to have to figure this out by myself. and it could be an absent parent, that would actually make a lot of sense. Because I, of course, was thinking about your mom, and I was like, she wouldn't make him feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm looking at all her stuff, and I'm like, she wouldn't make him feel that way. But
she definitely didn't at all. She picked up the slack of what the other one was unable to provide.
Yeah, but I can see that would make you feel at a certain age, I'm sure, as you were maturing, that you were like, I obviously am going to have to do this myself.
Yeah.
You have a very welcoming energy. That's why when you said there's actually astrologer therapist, I was like, oh my God, you'd be great at that. I feel safe and comfortable speaking to you about.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to be your therapist, Paul. You let me know.
I am on the hunt for one. So, hey.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
What are the most toxic parental? What are like the top 5 least compatible zodiac signs? And what are the top 5 most compatible parent zodiac signs? Are you able to say that?
Well, top 3. You don't even have to.
Yeah, top 3. Yeah.
Okay. So the top 3 least compatible mother and child relationships would definitely be an Aries mother with a Cancer child, a Leo mother with a Scorpio child, and then a Aquarius mother with a Taurus child. And then the most compatible mother-child typically falls in the earth signs. The most compatible would be a Taurus mother with a Virgo child, a Virgo mother with a Capricorn child, and then a Aries mother with a Leo child.
Wow.
Most compatible. Yes.
And for people who are listening who don't even know astrology signs, could you go through and list every zodiac sign for somebody who's listening? Because this could be somebody's first time being like, I have no idea.
So we have Aries, which is a fire sign. We have Taurus, which is an earth sign. Gemini, which is an air sign. Cancer, which is a water sign. Then we have Leo, which is a fire sign. Virgo, which is an earth sign. Libra is an air sign. Scorpio is a water sign. Sagittarius is a fire sign. Capricorn is an earth sign. Aquarius is an air sign. And Pisces is a water sign.
Boom. You heard it here first.
So your big 3 is like the 3 most important aspects if you really want to look at your stuff. Okay, so Barb, you are a Gemini sun, Aries moon, Leo rising. So you're air, fire, fire. But then you also have a Gemini Mercury, Taurus Venus, and a Gemini Mars. And that's air, earth, air. So you're very fire, air dominant. Paul, you are Virgo sun, Taurus moon, Cancer rising. So you're earth, earth, water. Completely opposite. And then you have a Virgo Mercury, Libra Venus, and a Cancer Mars, which is earth, air, water. So you are earth, water dominant, complete opposites. I truly believe what brings it together for the two of you is that Mercury, that communication. Everywhere I look in your birth charts, you are driven by your communication and your intellect when you're together. It just fuels the two of you.
I agree with that 100%.
We need to talk about, like, we are not the type of dynamic of a family that we sweep shit under the rug. If it's something that's on our mind and it's bothering, if I'm annoyed with her, she's annoyed with me, I do something she doesn't like, vice versa. We're like, let's just get it out. I'm annoyed. Like, you know, we talk our shit and then we move on from it. So it makes so much sense when you're like, oh, we have such an open dialogue of communication.
I just thought it was really, really cool too that, yeah, you guys are connected by communication and intellect. And here you are on a podcast together. Like, that speaks volumes of your synastry that you wound up on a podcast together where you were talking and communicating. That's what I see everywhere in your chart. It's amazing.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
I do feel like our strong suit is communication, but I believe that I'm a good communicator because my mom is a good communicator.
Absolutely. Just from something I saw in your chart, Barb, if you have like a very spiritual side to you, even like empathy or intuition, because I actually saw what's called a yod in your chart. It's very uncommon. It's very rare. And those people typically come into this life with a mission. You may not ever know exactly what it is, but you typically know, if you have a yod in your chart, you know, I'm here for something. I have a mission. And sometimes you figure it out and sometimes you don't.
believe I said this in like one of the other episodes, that she always had a sense of like, if I was friends with somebody, like, or there just something was wrong, even in her own friends, she'd be like, something's just off. I always believe that my mom had like I wouldn't say like psychic ability, but like an innate intuition of like knowing what's wrong and what's right.
Absolutely. You do. It's in your chart. You would be an amazing intuitive if you tapped into it. Yeah. I saw that and I was like, what? She has a yard. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Barf's getting so many career endeavors. I mean, she's too famous now because she's on this podcast for anything. She's a nurse, a mother, and now an intuitive. I mean, hey.
Now an intuitive. Yes, yes. Like you have 2 cradles, Paul, which tells me when I'm looking at it, I was almost in tears. I was like, oh my gosh, like to have 1 cradle in your birth chart means that you are just a very loving, caring, you show your emotions, you wear your emotions on your sleeve. Like people know where they stand with you because you're so open. And I feel that, you know, even as we were pen pals leading up to this, I just could feel, I could feel that even, but that's that cradle. They say though, anyone with a cradle in their chart, you wouldn't hurt a bug. You wouldn't hurt a fly, like just very, very sweet people. And you have 2 cradles, which means you're very, very sweet, very sweet.
Aww.
Very loving.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
So to all the haters that think I'm a bitch, no, I'm just kidding.
Right. So if you're struggling with that Virgo, just lean into the cradles.
There you go. Yes, yes. I love that. Yeah, I was going to say it's so off, like, because I feel like Virgos they come on strong and it's like, this is the way, and they come in real fast and hard kind of people. Yeah. But on the inside, they're just so like, we know it's from a good place.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is interesting that you said that. It's funny because you're like very emotional. And as you were saying, I was so kind. I'm like, I feel my eyes well up a little bit.
Me too. I felt my eyes tearing too.
Yeah.
I am such a softie. I think my exterior sometimes could, I think growing up, we could unpack trauma in so many different ways. Right. But I think, you know, being a gay kid, a closeted gay kid at one point, and having to like defend myself in that way in my own home growing up because of the dynamics that we had in our household. I think like sometimes the nature versus nurtures, that's kind of my defense mechanism. So it kind of makes you harden up a little bit. But like my boyfriend, I always feel like will see this side of me where he's like, I love when you're like so like playful and silly because I just see this sweet little kid. And I feel like it reminds me of like seeing myself as like a little kid in home videos that's just like sassy and just, you know, doesn't, that just has a smile and nothing affects me. So I do feel like that is in my core. I think sometimes life makes me be like, what's up, bitch? You know?
Yeah, and that's your Cancer rising too. Cancer rising. Cancer risings are very like expressive with those emotions too, and somewhat temperamental. You show that side of you. Your rising sign is what you're showing people, and that Cancer can be very temperamental too. Yeah.
Yes, because he's a do or die. Like, you know, even with me or his brother or something, you know, we can say what we want to each other, but have someone come in and say something or do something. And Paul is like the first one right there, you know, like, I'm coming in, and who is that person?
Oh yeah, no one's checking my mom or my brother. Like I can say whatever I want about them. I mean, I wouldn't, but like you can talk a little bit more reckless to your family. Somebody else does it, I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah, that's very Virgo too. Virgos are like that. Yeah. Sure.
Now, like with me, I'm more like, it's okay.
A little more passive. Yeah.
Yeah. As I've gotten older.
Yes, and that makes
Other part definitely is like, no, that's
yeah, you don't put up with a whole lot more. Once you get to a certain age, you're like,
absolutely. So I'm like, I don't know if that's just my Gemini that I've kind of suppressed, and now I'm older and I'm like feeling it and I can get more into it kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. We become more confident and you just sink into it. Yeah.
Yes. And now I'm like,
you cut Barb off at the local shop, right? She's going to get a bitch together real quick.
What's really funny, you know how they say like over time you start to like your tribe starts to find you and you start to find your tribe. So the 3 most toxic zodiac sun signs are right here in the room with us: Virgo, Gemini, and Aquarius.
That's crazy.
Toxic.
Yeah. Okay.
And the most hated.
Why is that?
Well, Virgo's very nitpicky, very, very nitpicky. Gemini is two-faced. And Aquarius is a heartless bitch.
Honestly, we kind of seem like a dream team, in my opinion. I mean, hey,
That's what I'm saying. We found our
this
tribe.
dream team, right?
that is hilarious.
And then the three most loved sun signs.
Whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I know. It's always number one is always Leo. Everybody loves Leo. Libra, even though in my opinion they're more two-faced than a Gemini, but Libras are also very sweet and they're very diplomatic. And Sagittarius, they're your party friends. Sagittarius loves to have fun. They're freedom loving and they're your friends you can go out and party with.
Wow.
That really shook me up more than anything you've told me.
The Sagittarius?
No, that I'm like, us
So you're the toxic sign?
Yeah.
I know. As soon as you said that, I was like, we're right here. It's right here. We're in the room.
Here it is.
Yes.
You're so sweet. You have such a great aura around you. I feel like everybody that we've had on this podcast so far just has great energy.
I agree. I have so enjoyed watching it. Yeah.
Thank you. That means so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Just,
Absolutely.
being able to talk to people where it's like, you feel like you're friends with them. And that's the vibe
Yes.
we want to create. You are very much like a part of the Royston, hold on, I'm calling my mom clan now at this point. So,
Awesome.
And we're all connected with our signs. So
That's
that's
right.
it.
Right. The toxic three.
tell everybody where they can check you out at. I want them, to follow you on TikTok, everywhere. I want to check you out.
Yeah, pretty much all the social medias. I'm pretty much on TikTok all the time. You can just find me there under Astrology Mom, but I do have a website, theastrologymom.com. I have all my socials there as well, or if people want to reach out to me through email or contact, it's theastrologymom.com. But yeah, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
You're killing it on TikTok. She has a huge following on TikTok, and I love her videos.
I can see why. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I got there just having fun. I'm in my bliss, doing what I love, and that's what's important,
Absolutely. Love to have you come back on again. Like just
I
to
was
come on
thinking
and-
too, we should do a follow-up and maybe focus on some other aspects too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us on my birthday episode.
Yes, happy birthday. I know.
We're feeling very enlightened as a Virgo this Virgo season. So thank you for contributing to that. Well, we will definitely be doing a part 2 with Astrology Mom. She will be back.
All right. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh, that's what. Bye.
I'm obsessed. You're, oh my God.
I love you. I'm a fan. I love Barb. I love you. I think you guys
I love you.
Oh, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chana.
All right. Bye, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Oh my God, I love her.
She's adorable and such a good person.
Adorable.
We're all about auras at the Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom podcast. And we've had really, really great, like just genuine, loving, nice, kind people.
What did you think?
I think the things that you always see more so are the like, not negative things, but you're like, oh, I'm like a regimented, bitchy, like, little.
Kind of validates you.
It does.
Like characteristics of you or traits of you of why you have these traits.
Yeah, but I think it made me feel like, wow, like there's a really great I think sometimes we're just quick as humans, always pick out the negative things. Where she was saying, I have 2 cradles, which is so loving and so kind. And also the tease coming up that we are going to have a psychic medium on. She did say when I did my initial call with her, she told me that I was so loved by so many people and I had this quality about me. And that's the thing. You don't think of yourself like that. I'm like, man, but for her to say that, and then now Chana kind of corroborate that by saying that is like, oh, interesting.
Hello, me, intuitive.
That's your gift. I've always said that.
That's my gift, Paul.
I always have said that. I think you should
need to tap into that.
You should study it more.
Because that's my second now person who said that.
Well, according to my doctor, you're on your deathbed, so you better get to stepping on the text. No, if not, you're fucked. So hurry up.
Before I take my last breath here.
Yeah, old lady. Another thing to add, the Kaiser's lack of customer service quality and bedside manner.
Bedside manner. Yes.
0-0 across the board so far. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for listening to another episode of Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom. As always, please like, share, subscribe our episodes. I so appreciate, I know Barb does as well, for all the support. Just people listening. I mean, just taking the time, like that means everything to us. We've had so many incredible messages where people have said so much heartfelt things about listening and taking something away. And at the end of the day, that was always our mission.
Make you laugh and give you something to think about.
Maybe a little tear if we get deep. Please follow us on Instagram, TikTok at Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom. Facebook, like our page, Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom. Email us if you have topics, which we've gotten a couple already, and I'm excited to explore those. But email us at Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom podcast@gmail.com. Like and subscribe our YouTube channel at Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom. And tune in every Monday as we drop an episode.
Well, it's that time. Time to go. I'm hanging up now. Bye.
What is this? Are you going? What's up, brah? Like, what is
That's
that?
the phone. That's the phone. That's old school phone.
That finger's crooked as hell. What happened?
Is it?
You're like,
this.
Yeah. Or let's throw that in the. You're like, I'm hanging up the phone. Oh.
All right, if I do it this one, it's better. All right, I gotta go now. Bye. Okay, I'm hanging up now. Bye.
See you next week, everyone. Bye, Mom. Call you
Bye.
later.
Love you.
Love you. Get it right next week. Bye.